In a landmark decision, the State Commission on Water Resource Management approved of the release of minimal water flows to several East Maui streams that are currently being diverted to water sugarcane fields here in the central Maui plain.
Mainly what the decision does is it says there's a minimum amount of water that has to stay in the stream, and that water stays in the stream first. And only when there's more water would that extra amount allowed to be diverted. The water code says the in-stream uses would take that first flow, but a lot of the irrigation systems were designed before the water code went into law. And so the reality is the diversions are taking the water first, or the low flow, and the extra goes downstream. Now we're going to have to work with the EMI and HC&S to change out that infrastructure so that the streams will keep the first level of flow. Today's day was the first day that the Water Commission has ever voted to amend the interim in-stream flow standards. We have had interim in-stream flow standards set when the law first went into place, but that was basically standards that said whatever anyone's taking now, they get to keep taking. We had standards set by the Supreme Court after years of litigation. Today was the first time where the Commission really stepped up and said, okay, we're going to set the standards, we're going to meet the statutory obligation and do this balancing test and make a really informed decision. And so that is great. We seem to have agreement in the room that the way we're doing it is the right way, and so now it will be simpler for the Commission staff to start to roll this out across various streams. So we'll start with finishing the East Maui system, and then we'll start to progress into other areas as well.
Well, I'm cautiously optimistic that we have an improvement of the conditions for the gatherers and farmers that represented the petitioners. However, because there wasn't any kind of analysis that showed whether or not that's adequate, we don't know. And as the Commission has said, they're taking a wait and see. Let's have this adaptive management strategy work. And, frankly, always in the real world, you don't get everything you want, frankly. But I think this moved us a whole league ahead of where we were with inaction, EMI, HC&S, A and B basically being able to benefit from inaction by keeping the waters flowing to their side of the island, and it puts some water back in the streams. So it's got to be a progress. But whether it's progress to fully protect the rights of the people that petitioned, I don't know at this time. I think my clients are saying they don't know either, but they're willing to work it out as Laura's asking. We'll work cooperatively with the Commission. But, in the case of Chemo Day and Bush Martin, they have already said that they need that water to open up all the lo'i they need to open up. And they are the ones in best position to know that. So even if only half the flow has been restored under this standard, I have asked to work with David Schulmeister and Garrett Hugh, and let them know that Chemo and Bush feel very strongly that they will continue, if they need to, they will continue to release water for their taro. They've gone through a summer when their taro crops have already died. Bush has an endangered species in his lo'i, found nowhere else in the world, a variety of taro that nobody else has, hapu. I think that they need to be very careful not to do whatever is possible to protect the continuation of not only taro, but endangered species of that sort.
Under the new agreement, water being fed into the East Maui streams will be taken before the point of diversion. Officials say that will require a good amount of coordination, investment, and calculation into how it will affect other areas of the island. The State Commission on Water Resource Management plans to meet up again in a year to reassess the situation and to ultimately make recommendations for the entire 27 streams that make up the East Maui area.
Mark Twain said that whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. And what we wanted to stress to people today is the state, we can't make all these things happen. There's very strong passions on all sides. And so what people are going to have to do is work with us and work with each other. We need the community to help us with monitoring, with gathering data and information. We need EMI to work with us on changing out their infrastructure. And frankly, we need EMI and the community working better together, because there may be solutions to a lot of these water needs that we can find ways to adapt to help everybody. It doesn't have to be a win-lose situation in every case.
I think we can now start to heal. My reaction is also that we can now reach our hand across the aisle and truly embrace each other and see how we can pono this, because now there's a line that's like the beginning. You know, we can now cross over and become people instead of corporations and entities and them and us, and we can truly partner together and make this work together.
I think it was great. It's going to help us in the Vaiha. These guys have been working on this since 2001. We've been working on our water issue in the Vaiha since 2004. Of course, we went to contested case hearing, and they looks like they're not going to have to. This thing was on for the year, and things will hopefully get settled and we get enough water returned. So we're still in our contested case hearing, but this should help us in the Vaiha a lot. So.
I think it worked out pretty fine. I think, and it'll work out fine if they do their work, and keep going. If not, they're gonna fall back, and we're gonna get a hard time again. And we're not looking for it to be in hard time again. We just want the water back, and that's it, and make us happy so we can do our taro fats.
The ball is in their park now. It's just a matter of everybody working together. We'll see what's going to happen. But for my part, Waikani is going to flow. Because was there with Alan. We talked to Schumeister, their EMI's attorney. And I told him that I'll be up there every day, make sure that gate is open and that water is going to flow. Because Waikani means thundering water. It doesn't mean silent water. And it's going to thunder.
Ultimately, officials say that we don't want to see houses spring up where cane fields once stood. In order to do that, officials say that both sides must work together in a good faith effort to move forward into the future. For MauiToday.tv, I'm Wendy Osher.
You're watching MauiToday.tv.
Maui Today.